Welcome to BitBoy Crypto. The best way is if you became a millionaire, would you keep working? You know? I want to tell you guys something. What's going on right now is California's trying to figure out about crypto. My name is Ben. We're talking balls. Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the People's Channel, home of the BitSquad, the largest and greatest crypto community in all the interwebs. No channel works harder to keep you in the know about crypto. My name is Ben. If you've never watched before, we come to you live every single day, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is Monday, September the 26th. I guess this is the last Monday, or Friday's the 1st. Is that correct? 26, 27, 28.
Friday's the 30th.
No, Saturday is the 1st, I believe. So this is the last week of the month, last week of quarter 3 here. So will we see some fireworks at the end of this week? Potentially. Guys, TJ is back.
I'm back.
Yeah. Welcome back, TJ. How are you feeling?
Almost better.
Almost better. Well, that's good. We are super excited that you're back. It was like I was gone for 2 weeks, and then we were back together for 1 day, and then you were gone for a week. So
yeah.
The whole crew is here, and we're back. Oh, look, Raoul VDB's in the basement says he missed you. It's nice for people to miss TJ. I didn't miss him, but I'm glad he's back.
I don't know. I watched one stream, and you said you did miss me on that.
Stream. Mother chucker. I knew the one time I said it, you'd find it. Okay. All right, guys. Look, very interesting markets right now, and I'm really trying to figure out, what is going on here because, the DXY. Let's talk about the DXY real quick. Before we get into the chart or before we get into Market Watch here, I want to take a look at this. Let's see. This is the 30-minute chart. Let me pull up the daily chart here. So daily chart, you can see on this is Bitcoin. You see we're kind of sideways. On the daily chart, we got a yellow X yesterday. Not great news. But let's look at this DXY here. I mean, this thing freaking ripped. Man, bounced right off of our trend line here. Absolutely insane. Right now, it's coming at 113.8. It peaked out at 114, almost 115. That is unbelievable. 114.5. So I'm a little confused on why Bitcoin is not dropping right now. Because when you have the DXY that has pumped that much, we also know the European or the British pound sinking like a rock right now.
Really?
I don't know, maybe George Soros needs to come in and buy that thing again. I don't know what it needs at this point. But the whole idea is that usually when we see the DXY ripping, we see Bitcoin plummeting. What you're seeing right now is Bitcoin is really still hovering right at that $19,000 level. It's 18,984 right now. And we're not seeing a lot of downward movement. And if you were to look at the SPY on the daily, you'll see it dumped very hard. So what you're seeing stocks dumping. You're seeing Bitcoin really kind of sitting still. And it's just very curious to me what's going on with that. Because I would have expected when we saw the markets open and the S&P or the SPY to plunge, I thought we'd see Bitcoin plunge. It's almost like someone is propping Bitcoin up right now. Why would they be propping Bitcoin up? Well, that's a great question. It's as good as any question. Would it be potentially because maybe, they're waiting for the right time to dump it and, get in a better price? Is it people trying to hold on to this $19,000 level because they don't want new lows? It's really hard to say at this point, but it's very confusing, to be honest with you. So I suspect that one way or the other, I mean, obviously most likely to the downside, we're in a bear market. When you're in a bear market, things are almost always going to lean to the downside. That's why it's a bear market. I think we're going to see some fireworks from Bitcoin at some point, and I don't really know when that is going to be. But TJ said earlier, we were talking like maybe later today, potentially, but I would have thought we saw it at the drop. So,
well, we usually end of quarter see a lot of fireworks like the last Friday. We'll probably see stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty volatile week.
Yeah, I would certainly think that we're going to. Here we go with a conspiracy. Someone is holding up $1 trillion asset. Ha, 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 moron. Well, you're correct. You are a moron. But guys, if you didn't know, when Bitcoin's at a low market cap like this, it's under $1 trillion. Did you know BlackRock, I think right now they're in, until they had a big drop, they're somewhere between $9 and $12 trillion. There are entities large enough to move the price. I don't know if you understand how markets work, idiot. But it is definitely possible that someone can prop it up for a period of time. That's why, see, it just amazes me. What do you think a BART pattern is? Do you know what a BART pattern is, sir? Do you know? It's where the price spikes and it goes over and then it plummets. Then you have your inverse BART patterns where the price plummets, it goes sideways, and then goes right back up. Why does that occur? Because big entities can over leverage themselves and they can actually move the price of Bitcoin. I know this is new to you. I know this must be the first crypto video you've ever watched. It's literally not a conspiracy. We see it happen all across the markets all the time. So yeah, it is possible, dummy. Okay. Furthermore, production Saul says, are we still on track for November bottom? I believe that we are. I believe that our kind of timeline we've given for this entire year, especially since April when we called it officially a bear market, it's been very accurate. And I don't think there's any reason to suspect that it's not going to be. Now, look, when I say end of November, please keep in mind that November 28th is our day. The date is not important. It does not matter if it happens on November 28th or not. In fact, very low percentage of a chance it actually happens on November 28th. It's possible, but very low chance. I would say less than 5%. What is going to happen is somewhere in a 2-week range, give or minus there, we'll probably see the bottom. I think it's also very possible that we see a bottom after the December Fed meeting. I've said I believe that will be the meeting where they announce they're going to pause rates. Some stuff that they've said recently makes me think maybe they will do another big raise in December. If that occurs, it will probably be the last one, and that could potentially be the bottom. So that would put the bottom closer to, I think it's December 14th or 15th or 16th. That would put the bottom very close to Christmas. So in between that time and Christmas. So just keep in mind,
14th.
November, December. That's what we're targeting. November, December, end of November is in between November and December after the midterm elections. So that's where we are going for. Sorry, who had 1136 for the rant? Is that the over under 1136?
That's fine.
Very, very potential. So, okay. All right, let's go ahead and get rolling here. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, guys. Put out our hunting vlog video last night.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. Definitely, if you want to see, me almost die in a flood. It was a lot more dangerous than that showed, by the way. It got very sketchy there for a little bit, but definitely was a pretty good video. You guys don't forget to follow me on Twitter. We've been doing really well on Twitter lately, 889.5 thousand followers. And also don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We are at 474,000 followers there. Make sure that you check out BitBoy_crypto. And don't forget our book, Catching Up to Crypto, coming out here in a few months. The pre-orders are available now. It'd be a great gift for Christmas. Look, they're not going to get the book delivered until the middle of January, but you can print out a receipt. If somebody you know wants to get into crypto, especially if that's around the bottom, might be a good time for everybody you know to catch up to crypto. That's the whole point of the book. This is going to be a huge book. This is going to be the thing that fills the gap in between new people that want to get into crypto and the amount of information that they've lost by getting in, 13 years after Bitcoin was created. Everything in crypto, you're going to basically get an overview of. It's really good. We explain money, digital money, the whole thing. Where crypto has been, where it is, where it's going. You're definitely going to want to hook that up. I'm sure we have the link somewhere, but you can go to bitboycrypto.com/book and check that out. All right, here we go. We've got 21,093 cryptos right now on the markets. Exchanges, 522. 932 billion here on the market cap. 74 billion, almost 75 billion on the volume. I'm going to say decent volume for that level of market cap. Bitcoin dominance at 39.2. ETH dominance down to 17.4. Let's see if we got maybe a tick down here. Let's see what the actual weekend was. 38.93. 38.93. It was 38.88. 38.88 recently, a couple weeks ago. So 38.88 is the low that we've had, at least according to CoinMarketCap. And then we've got 10 Paraguays, a nice round 10 Paraguays will send you an ETH transaction. Can you buy the book in the UK from Bruce Bradley? You should be able to. I believe you can buy it. Barnes & Noble, I think they have those in the UK, right? I'm sure they probably do. Also, Amazon. I know they have Amazon there, right? So there you go. Jeremy F. with the super chat, with the DXY going up so high and world currencies dropping, any chance this creates the neat opportunity for a worldwide CBDC? We're a long ways away from a worldwide CBDC. It will be coming at some point. I believe the U.S. digital dollar is going to be our CBDC. It's going to be USDC. There's a lot of reasons and evidence to suggest this. Probably 3 to 5 years away from now, that could kind of almost be the world CBDC in a sense, but individual countries will still have their own. And I believe we're probably 20 years away from that, 10 to 20 years from a worldwide CBDC. That will come eventually. When that collapses, I think that's when we'll see Bitcoin rise up as the world reserve currency. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so looking at the markets, we got Bitcoin coming in right now at $19,064. If you check this out here, you'll see Terra Luna Classic at 33.78%. Must be pumping because Interpol took out a warrant for Do Kwon's arrest.
Jeez.
You got Terra Luna itself. What is this? This is the new one. 11 big news. Do Kwon wanted by the police, the international worldwide police. I don't know what you even call it other than Interpol. But up 11.33% on that news. All three of the biggest pumpers are all Terra Classic. So stay away, guys. Stay away from that. Don't touch that with a 10-foot pole. We have IOTA with an 8.54% pump. I'm actually shooting an IOTA video this afternoon, in fact.
Really?
I think it'll be coming out tomorrow, actually. So you guys will check that out. We haven't talked about IOTA a lot on the channel, but as it is in ISO 20022, there's been talks of the European Union using it, a lot of different things going on there. We think it's a good time to refresh you guys on the Internet of Things project, IOTA.
That's interesting because that's an old one. And
It
almost
is.
all the rest of those are fairly current.
Yep.
Huh.
The number one coin from 2017. Did you know that?
I didn't.
The absolute number one overall performing coin from 2017.
Wow.
Outperformed NEO, outperformed XRP, outperformed everything. It was an ICO, I believe.
Outperformed Ethereum?
Oh, absolutely.
I guess Ethereum had its big run up in 16, I guess, and then just still ran in 17.
Yeah. Right. But I think still IOTA even overall beats that. I think it was like a 68,000% increase, something like that, maybe higher, maybe 7 or 800 or 70 or 80,000% increase. I was shocked at that. I looked that up maybe for a video like 2 years ago. Wow, IOTA, huh? You got Zcash coming in up, Bitcoin SV, Polkadot, Helium, ICP. Not a lot of big movers outside of the Terra coins. XRP with the biggest loss. Just a retracement, guys. It went all the way up to 55 cents. Not too worried about XRP. Algo ran right there with it. But look at the weekly numbers. I mean, you got reserve rights up 39.71%. You got XRP, IOTA, Compound, all with big moves. Quant, Algorand, XDC. A lot of these ISO 20022 coins are moving. I expect this to be a theme for the next bull run. That's why we've got a nice little portfolio with all of those in it. Thanks to some of those coins pumping, that portfolio is up, which is a good thing. Darth Flyer says with a super chat, stock market crash post midterm elections, buy inverse ETFs, Bitcoin bags pack now just waiting. I don't know how I feel about a stock market crash post midterm election. Potentially, I mean, maybe there's some things being put in place to try to hold the market until then, and those things get removed, and then it could crash. But I would say that Bullwinkle will be getting taxidermied, by the way. It takes about a year, though, so it'll be a long time before y'all see it. But what I would say about this when it comes to midterm elections is I strongly believe that the right will sweep the elections almost. The economy is in the gutter. It's the number one catalyst for people voting. The motivation is the economy. So you look at the economy, it's worse than it's been since 2008. We obviously had a big transition of power in 2008 to 2009 when Barack Obama got elected. I think right now in the midterms, I think you're going to see that. The economy just reflects it. It's not a, this is not opinion. I mean, just factually, that's what we've seen throughout history when the economy is bad. So unless something changes dramatically in the next, 6 weeks or 8 weeks or however long it is, probably 6 weeks, I think that's what we're going to see. Now, traditionally, the right is a little more friendly to the markets than the left. So I don't, now look, if somehow the left were to win, maintain their seats, I think we could see that crash. However, I think if the right wins, they're more friendly to markets and propping them up. I think we could potentially see an increase, but we almost always see a drop in the 24 hours following an election. Especially, it reacts if there's change. It reacts if there's no change. So we've seen that on the presidential elections. We've seen it on the midterm elections before. Bitcoin traditionally tops the year of the presidential election. After the presidential election, it bottoms, following the midterm elections. And now when I say it tops, it hits a new all-time high. Bitcoin has hit its all-time high following the presidential election in the last 2 cycles. So at 2009, January, when Barack Obama was inaugurated, that's when Bitcoin began. So we can't really go back further than that. We've only had 2 election cycles, 2016 and 2020, since then. Josiah Star says, what I know the low will be for ETH during this bear market. I think we potentially already seen it. I think $910 could potentially be the bottom for Ethereum, depending on how low things drop. If Bitcoin drops all the way down to 10,000, we could definitely see Ethereum drop lower. I believe Ethereum will retest $1,000, and what it does from there, I think, will determine whether or not we see a low. A lot of people targeting $600 to $700. That was kind of our original look at Ethereum. I think the merge may be enough to protect it from a new cycle low, but we'll have to see. Okay, all right, let's bring Frank up. Frank, you want to come up, show some charts? Come on up, bud. We're showing calves today.
Oh boy.
Look at this. Look at the calf. Hey, look at that calf. Hey, that's a strong calf. Pony up, cowboy.
What is going on, guys? I hope you're having a good Monday. We got a lot to look at on the charts. As you guys know, we've been watching the DXY pretty closely here, looking for a potential break to the top of our ascending channel, which we're going to take a look at in just a second. We also have some things popping up on Bitcoin on the daily chart, as Ben was talking about. That yellow X popping up on the daily is typically a pretty bearish sign, but Bitcoin does not want to break this value area low, and we're going to take a look at the levels in just a second. But that daily yellow X is a really bearish sign. We also confirmed the yellow X on the weekly chart, but Bitcoin holding strong. As you guys know, we are sitting at very, very important support. So very interesting to see that, we keep getting these really bearish signals, and the price, they just cannot push the price below these certain levels. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we got today. First off, starting on the weekly, just for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about with those yellow X's, these typically indicate manipulation to the downside, and they are typically very, very bearish. So we did confirm that yellow X here, that second yellow X here on the weekly, which is generally a bearish sign. Now, you can also see, if you take a look at Market Cipher B here, you have your money flow coming back out on the weekly as well, which is another very bearish sign. And your momentum wave is working its way down as well. And I was actually on Jason Casper's live stream last week, and we were kind of talking about what the bottom could look like here for Bitcoin this cycle. And one of those scenarios that I'm looking at, and I know Jason's also looking at, is a potentially see this momentum wave move below this -60 line and give us a second big green dot down here. And this has marked the bottom of bear markets before, as a single green dot has as well. But in 2013, 2014, we got 2 of these weekly green dots. And if you guys watch my Is the Bottom In video, there's a lot more similarities between this current cycle we're in now and the 2013, 2014 cycle than other cycles, right? And in that 2013, 2014 cycle, we also got a double green dot to mark the bottom of that bear market. So wouldn't be unlikely, in my opinion, to see this momentum wave come down, give us that second green dot. And what else that does for us, or another thing that does for us to potentially have the bottom come in there, is it could have us put bullish divergences in on the weekly time frame. Which
how many, Frank, real quick, just a quick question here. How many weeks were in between those green dots?
Let's go ahead and take a look.
He
Good.
was waving at this. Yeah,
I just love watching myself on camera. That shocks nobody.
Okay, so if we go ahead and pull up, if it will load, there we go. Okay, so
if you guys want to get Market Cipher, we use Market Cipher, for pretty much everything. TJ will put a link in the live stream chat there.
There we go.
You guys want to check that out.
Okay,
get 15% off.
If you take a look right over here in 2013, 2014 on the weekly time frame at the bottom of this bear market here, you'll see, there you go. There's your 2 double green dots. Now, this momentum wave came lower than the previous one, so we didn't get a bullish divergence, but you get those 2 green dots, and they were approximately, let's see, about 15 weeks apart.
So what is 15 weeks from our previous green dot?
That would bring us. Ooh, are we about to find out an interesting
Uh-huh.
date here?
Yep. Yep.
Let's go ahead and
That's
see.
what I'm thinking.
15 weeks.
It's going to
let's
fit our
see.
range, I'm pretty sure.
So 15 bars would come in around October.
Around
Could
October.
creep into November,
Yeah.
which would make a lot of sense to put in a bottom at this point. And again,
So basically, if it was 17 weeks, that would put us right probably at our.
exactly. So not too far off. These things don't always happen, give or take a couple weeks. God forbid you get it off by a day, but yeah, it could come in around that time. It would make a lot of sense, especially putting in that bullish divergence on the weekly would be a mega bull signal. And at that point, I would feel a lot more confident actually calling the bottom. If we could get a bullish divergence on the weekly, that would be huge. But moving on here, guys. So weekly yellow X confirmed. We with the momentum and the money flow coming out as well. Generally more bearish. However, you want to be careful because you see these bearish signs having trouble pushing Bitcoin below this support level that we're sitting at. So you want to be careful here. But again, there it is in all of its glory. Yellow X on the daily chart as well. Again, not getting too much juice out of this thing just yet. You could see as it was printing on this candle, we came down a little bit, and now we're printing a little bit of a doji candle here, which would indicate some indecision in the market. I do think we are on the verge of a very, very big move and a lot of volatility. It's really hard to call which way. I would have to. There's a lot of bearish signs. However, the fact that we cannot break through this support makes me think we could potentially see some form of a bounce come in very soon. But more on the shorter time frames here, looking at the 4 hour. 4 hours starting to look like it's getting a little overheated, ready to kind of cool off here. We also put a bearish divergence here on the 30-minute chart. You could see right here you have your higher high and your lower high. So I would expect price to maybe come down a little bit in the short term. But, again, being very careful at this golden box here. Let me zoom out so you guys can see it a little better. Being very careful at this golden box because we have not been able to break through this. But those bearish signs do have me feeling, I have to say, I've been saying this for the past couple of days. It's really hard to call right now because we are getting those bearish signs, but we can't get them to play out.
Yeah.
So, again, I would have to lean bearish just because of those signs.
Well, I'll go back to what I talked about on my video yesterday, which was when we were at $6,000 in 2018, 2018. We sat there from basically June all the way until November. And it just felt like, well, it can't go below 6,000. Look how long it's been here. It's had so many opportunities to go down, and nothing would push it down. But then eventually you got the volatility, and it did push below. It feels kind of similar, even though we haven't been sitting here at this range for as long as we sat at that range. Just because it sits here and he sits on the support for a long time, that doesn't mean it won't break down. It just means when it breaks down, it's probably going to plummet.
Yeah, I was thinking the what we're at right now, like the 17 to 20 even would be the new 6 to 10.
That's exactly what I've been thinking. Yeah,
absolutely. I would agree. And another thing to speak to Ben's point here is you guys want to remember the more times you tap on a support level, the more likely, I always say, the more times you knock on the door, the more likely it is that someone comes and opens it. The problem here is we're knocking on the floor. So someone might come open that trap door and we could completely plummet. And you guys know the levels that we're watching. The next big level of support I'm watching is that 786 fib level coming in at 17,695. Would expect at least some form of a decent bounce off of here and potentially that could be our double bottom for this entire cycle. So before I just want to move on here to the DXY. What meme coin is this? But yeah, so we've been watching this, guys, waiting for potential. We were watching for this breakout. We got it, broke through this resistance, and then we were looking for the potential retest of the top of this channel. And now we're getting it, right? So this is another reason why I do think we could potentially this would lean more on the bearish side for Bitcoin because as we come up to this resistance, it is likely. I mean, you could go back and look at it every time we come up here. Most of the time you do come back down a decent bit. So as we work our way up to the top of that channel,
that's the most parabolic we've seen it though, right?
Yeah, I did not think that it was going to happen that quickly. I will be honest. I thought there was a good chance we can make it up there. I didn't think it would happen that quickly. But if we see this thing start to cool off, we could see Bitcoin get a little bit of a bounce here. The other thing you want to remember on Bitcoin is, it's a little tricky right now, guys. And It's real hard to read because you guys know we did have the daily bullish divergence, which is typically a very, very bullish sign. You could see your higher lows here on your momentum waves with your lower lows on price. This is a bullish sign, right? And we just didn't get any juice out of it. Printed a red dot, and now we're printing another green dot. Could still be putting in some bullish divergence here, but just nothing.
That's the daily. Do we just get another yellow X? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So we do have the yellow X here. So again, mixed signals. You got a daily bullish divergence, but you have that yellow X. And I always warn people, be very careful with the longs if you have those yellow X's looming, because a lot of people see these yellow X's pop up, and if it doesn't immediately dump, they're like, oh, okay, these things don't work. This is it. But, then a couple days later, you get an absolute dump.
But the manipulation people that are doing the yellow X, the actions that are causing the yellow X, these people know Market Cipher. That's actually true. Some people have counter traded Market Cipher, and so really, like, if people see the yellow X and we're talking about it, or other channel crypto face talking about it, whatever it might be, then the people that are wanting to do the manipulation have already been putting the things in place. Then they might say to themselves, all right, I'll let them feel comfortable, so I make sure they get liquidated. Like, that's a real thing. That's how market works.
Yeah, let's flash a couple yellow X's at support, freak everybody out, have them shorting, and then just rip it to the upside. So I will say, guys, lots of bearish signs. But again, be very careful for these reasons. And DXY, that's one thing I would really keep an eye on, is this DXY. Look for a cool off on off of this resistance of the top of this ascending channel. And if we can get this thing to start to break down, then maybe we can see Bitcoin get a little bit of a bounce. And before I hop off here, guys, let me just give you some levels to keep an eye on. And they haven't really changed. If you watch the channel, this might be repetitive for you guys, but the levels still remain important. Major level, let me come down to a lower time frame here. Let's look at the 1 hour. Some major levels I am looking for is obviously this gold box, which is coming in between about 18,825 and 19,029. And then right underneath that, we do have a spider line coming in. This is if we do break down. We do have a spider line coming in at about 18,555. And again, that last resort support, didn't mean to rhyme there. But that 786 fib coming in at 17,695, guys. If we break down to this level and we do not get a strong bounce and we break through this level, I am expecting much lower prices for Bitcoin. So that's another major level to watch. And if we do break to the upside, I would look at this spider line. Is going to be some immediate resistance coming in at 19.5. If we can flip bullish and flip over this 19.5, flip it to support, I will be looking up towards the point of control coming in at about 20,500. So be careful out there, guys. Set your stop losses. Things are iffy. They're bullish. They're bearish. Be careful. It's tricky trading out there right now. That's all I got. Back to Ben being bound.
Tricky trade, not just trick or treat.
It's tricky too. Frank was up here rapping, if I remember that correctly. We looked at the green dots. They're 15 bars apart. Frank, 16 bars all day long. Smash likes, guys. Number one thing you can do to join the crypto movement and support adoption is to like this video so more people see it. You guys know we are the mainstream crypto channel. Most people who come into crypto, they come in through us. They might end up other places. But you can get more people in crypto by letting YouTube know people need to see these crypto videos. All you got to do is hit that like button, and make sure if you're not a subscriber to the channel that you do. Super Trucker Ryan says, kind of looks like a moose antler pattern. Definitely could be. Ben, this is from Pun Any Vamper. Ben, I remember you once. We kept that joke going for years now.
Years,
by the way. Literally years. We've kept that joke going without cracking a smile. Ben, I remember you said once XRP could lead the pump for the rest of the market. Could this recent XRP pump be a potential front runner for BTC and the rest of the market? I'm going to say no. And the reason why I say no is because the reason XRP pumping is a fundamental reason from news. What's going on with the SEC case? They basically, for all intents and purposes, given up pursuing it as a security, and they're going after the marketing practices, which we told you was going to happen 2 years ago. So the whole thing is that's why XRP is moving. If XRP was moving out of nowhere without anything fundamentally backing it, I would say very potentially that could be the case. I do expect XRP to lead this next run as it's free from the suppression of the SEC case once this happens. So there you go. I wish we'd gone to mainnet up there. Sorry, mainnet. Did you see all the stuff from up there?
Yeah, I did.
I would love to talk to Brett Garlinghouse when I was up there,
Yeah.
but we missed it. It is what it is. Let's see.
Twitter buzz.
Ben, I think you should go with Coin Bureau. I got nothing bad to say about Coin Bureau. Maybe I say bad stuff about it sometimes. But no, I think he's supposed to be in Dubai. He's supposed to be in Dubai when I'm out there. I think. We'll see. I saw he did an interview with CZ. I didn't know he could do interviews. That's a new thing. I think it's a new thing. I don't know. Maybe or so. But yeah, so I'm supposed to see him while I'm out there in Dubai. So we're supposed to be on some panels together or something like that. That's October 10th through the 13th. So we will be out there for that, going straight to Rare Bloom after that in Denver, flying out 13th. We'll be there that night for the Rare Bloom event for Cardano. So yeah, look, there aren't many people in crypto that I hate. Same thing. One of them.
I'd like to see that. I don't know if he doesn't really do a lot of collaborations or hasn't, at least in the past, but if that's a new thing, I'd love to see him on the channel and do some kind of collaboration.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. Look, I'm open to it. I'm open to having almost anybody on the channel. Almost anybody. If they want to come on. Okay. All right. Let's move on here. Let's check out the news. Top story for the markets. Bitcoin price and Ethereum consolidate despite broader US dollar
you don't have
rally.
Headset.
What's that?
You missed the whole song. It's Twitter Buzz.
Oh, it's Twitter.
You missed the song. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, you don't need it for this, really. You don't.
Can you restart the segment?
Yeah, we'll do it again. Let's see.
I did not hear it. So I said token metrics update. We need to reach out to them, figure out what we're doing with the car thing.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to do that today.
That was one of the
they've
things
got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was rolling around thinking about when I couldn't sleep at night.
Bitcoin Magazine says breaking Interpol issues red notice to locate and arrest Luna founder Do Kwon. And I talked about this. I've talked about this a lot. They call it, I did not know Interpol stands for International Criminal Police Organization. Did you know that?
I knew it stood for something, but I didn't know that.
It doesn't make sense if you
that doesn't
move the
make
letters
sense.
over. But hey, over in Europe, they do things different than we do. Okay. So basically, I'll reiterate my point on this again, which is Do Kwon to me, I don't think he's a bad person. I don't think he did this on purpose. I don't think that he is malicious. I don't think he wanted people to lose money. But nonetheless, there was a vulnerability in his project, tokenomics-wise, and it caused a lot of people to get hurt. So it's very similar to vehicular manslaughter, or involuntary manslaughter. You're in a car, you run a red light, you're not paying attention, you don't do it on purpose, you run into a car, you kill someone in the car. You didn't do it on purpose, but your actions caused a death, so you get charged with basically, a charge lesser than murder, but where someone still died. And I think that's very similar to what Do Kwon is going through. He's going to have to face the music on this. I mean, people lost there's billions of dollars lost. This is not $100,000. So Lark Davis says, straight from the mouth of the WEF, climate lockdowns and restrictions are coming to be enforced by CBDCs. Look, we talked about this last week when it comes to the World Economic Forum and their plan. They said that, basically the pandemic was, it acted as a test to see what people were going to do when it came to social responsibility. And now look, guys, I have said it once, said it twice, I'll say it a million times. Solar and green energy is the new oil industry. You have to remember there is money coming into this left and right. It will continue to be propped up. Oil is on its way out. It's not out yet, but it is the beginning of on its way out. By the year 20, let's see, what is it now? What year?
2022.
2022. By the year 2100, I'll be dead, but I guarantee you there's no oil anymore. We've moved on from oil by the year 2100. So this is going to be a long transition. And I think we're starting to see that. So there's a lot of money flowing into this, and governments are looking for ways that they can control people through this new industry. I mean, look, every war we've ever gone to the United States was, it was about oil. It was about oil. I mean, almost everyone. In the Middle East, especially, it's because it's big money. It's big business. Green energy, solar energy. This is the new. You're looking at the way they're going to run these carbon credits. Companies are going to be clamoring over ways that they can get those credits. And then now we're going to see CBDCs tied to them as well, where if you're not doing your part, I'm reminded by these, what is it called? Litter. You remember like littering? Is that a saying anymore? Do people still throw stuff out the window?
I hope not.
I hope not, but they may. When I was a kid, stopping littering was like the biggest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
Like we got told, like, this is your responsibility. You do not throw stuff out the window. So like, look, when I was in my early 20s or teenage years, like every once in a while, I might throw something out the window. But you know what? I'd feel bad about it.
Yeah.
They did a really good job where like, okay, like this, like a milkshake I had one time, it spilled. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. And so I threw it out the window, but I felt bad. That's what the government wants you to feel. They want you to feel bad when you're not doing your social responsibility when it comes to green or when it comes to climate change, when it comes to the environment, yada, yada, yada. But in the future, instead of just being able to make your emotions tied to that, they're going to make your dollars tied to it. So if you're not doing your part, if you're driving too many hours in a gasoline-powered vehicle, they're going to not let you spend your money. So we'll have to see how all this works out, but it's definitely pretty sketch. All right. Reuters, UK may fine TikTok $29 million for failing to protect children's privacy. What happened to United States? What happened to the United States banning TikTok when Donald Trump did that? I guess none of that ever actually happened.
Never stuck.
What's that?
It never seemed to stick, I guess.
Never
I don't
seemed
know.
to stick. People love TikTok too much.
Yeah.
I like TikTok pretty good. I'll be honest with you. And I know TikTok's a very bad app for spyware, but you don't think Facebook is? I want to ask you this question. Who do you think has done more damage in the United States, TikTok or Facebook? I think we know the answer to that question. So there you go. But we'll see what happens in the UK with TikTok if they start coming down on it. We'll see. I once did a video. There was like a popular, I think it was a dental video that was going around that was popular. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I accused, now look, this is not true. This was meant only in jest. Because we love people from the UK on this channel. We love football. We love the pitch. We love Big Ben, named after me potentially. We love the Queen. God rest her soul. Rip Queen Elizabeth. While I was in Alaska, she died. Very sorry. I promise, guys. I won't go to Alaska again if it means that royalty gets killed.
That was my favorite tweet I saw about the British pound crashing. It was
Yeah.
like, well, it's soccer now. That was the best.
Going to nil.
Yeah.
But I made a video where I made a little joke about people from England's teeth.
Uh-oh.
And TikTok removed that video for hate speech.
Oh, gosh.
So, look, we love teeth. We love teeth in the UK. Did you know also, by the way, do you know the second most common dream is your teeth falling out? Have you ever had that dream? I had never even heard of this. Yeah. Yeah, I talked to somebody and they were like, yeah, I have this dream all the time where I'm losing my teeth. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, what do you mean? And they were like, no, I think it's pretty common. I was like, I've never heard of it. And I went to Google, dream about, and the first thing is teeth falling out. Yeah. So, and it means I think it means that you've lost something stable in your life. I think that's what it means, supposedly. But anyways, we love teeth here. We love the Queen. So,
Smile.
was I involved in the Queen's demise? Funny how she passed while you were in Alaska. It's not funny that the Queen passed.
No.
That was a trick question. Mr. Techno Goody. I see you there. Okay. All right. We already talked about that market story. Let's go and move on here. The bond market bubble has burst. 5 things to know about Bitcoin this week. We tend to look at this article every Monday from Cointelelie. Bitcoin starts a new week staring down a wild macro environment after sealing its lowest weekly close in nearly 2 years. And I will tell you this. Oh, yeah. Bring a day. Dago, I want to go back to that. Leave that up for a second. I want to talk about that. Basically, the long and the short of it is, remember this, guys. Bitcoin is doing what it's always done. It's the macro environment that's different right now. And look, I don't think Bitcoin's affecting the macro environment in any sense of the word. But when you're looking at the wild macro environment, and people are saying, well, Bitcoin's down because look at the markets. The Bitcoin's down every 4 years at this time. So it's really hard to say that. When will I elaborate about dropping SOL and FTX? And we also had someone said it was a little, yeah. Ben, what do you think about Gavin Newsom vetoing the crypto bill in California? I think those two things are connected. I think that Gavin, look, I'll just tell you, look, it's starting to come out. People are starting to find out about this. It's starting to come out at this point. Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX are working with Chuck Schumer to create a bit license for the United States, a federal bit license. Now, if you don't know what the bit license is, you obviously didn't watch Banking on Bitcoin. If you go and you watch Banking on Bitcoin, a documentary that was made back in 2016, I think, maybe 2015, it explains the genesis of Bitcoin from where it started to where it is today. In New York City, I don't know if it's New York State or New York City. I assume it's the state because it's made it very hard for crypto exchanges to operate there and other crypto projects. you must have a license from the government on a state level to be able to operate in New York. That's why if you live in New York City, there are exchanges that are available to everybody else in the United States except for you, because that exchange does not have a BIT license. Almost anyone in crypto will need this BIT license to operate in doing anything revolving around transactions. Well, what does this also mean? This means that if you live in New York and you make a transaction and it is not from a New York licensed exchange, technically that's an unlawful transaction. So how does this break down? And Sam Bankman-Fried is completely behind this, by the way. Completely. Chuck Schumer, also completely behind this. Chuck Schumer played a role in the BIT license. Also, mainly responsible for giving Ross Ulbricht 2 life sentences for creating Silk Road. The crime does not fit the punishment there. Did he need punishment? Sure, I think so. Maybe 10 years max, maybe. 2 life sentences when you got rapists and murderers getting out faster than that? Absolutely not. That's insane. All for creating a website. Now, when you look at this, what is the crescendo effect of this? Okay. The crescendo effect of this is now any decentralized transaction that you do, whether it be DeFi, whether it be on a decentralized exchange, or whether it be peer-to-peer, guess what those are now? Those are now illegal because you've done those through entities that are not licensed from the federal government. Now, I'm unsure yet. I haven't seen the legislation, but they're moving towards it. By the way, only supported by Democrats. We have stuff we're working on. It's bipartisan, which is the way you should always do it. It is basically, I don't know if it is going to be every state is going to have a governing body to approve this license, or if it will be on a federal license level. Think of a money transmitter license. You have to have a money transmitter license to do anything in the world of money exchanging, purchases, transactions that involve markets. But this is going to be very bad. The whole goal of this for FTX is to destroy all competition. Coinbase will obviously be able to get the license. FTX will be able to get the license. Binance.us will probably be able to get the license. Sign up for Binance.us. We have a link down below for you if you want to do that. We like Binance.us. But FTX is leading the charge here. There are some suspicions that Coinbase could have some to do with this as well, but we don't know for sure. So the idea that Sam Bankman-Fried is pushing legislation that is the absolute, that takes the worst piece of crypto legislation in the history of crypto, the BIT license, and puts it on a federal level, this is going to destroy decentralization. You have to speak out about this. You have to speak out against Chuck Schumer, against Brett Harrison, the president of FTX US, against Sam Bankman-Fried. These are some of the worst villains in all of crypto. Because think about this. Alex Mashinsky, probably the worst villain we have today. He caused more people to lose money than anybody else. Do Kwon also will probably fit that bill. Okay, especially if you lost a lot of money in Terra Luna or UST. Okay, Sam Bankman-Fried's trying to destroy crypto as we know it. That's why he's going around and he's annexing all of these crypto projects. Why do you think he wants to buy Voyager? He wants to bring it up under FTX because once FTX gets the license, everything they touch has a license. They're behind it. They're the ones that are going to control how you get the license. So think about this. Any mom and pop company that wants to start in crypto, nope, you're destroyed. What does this also affect? This is why I want to tell Charles Hoskins to send him an email. I haven't heard back because we need some support. We're trying to raise money for a counter bill to this, and we don't have the money FTX has. I don't have $1 billion, guys. Okay, we're trying to raise money for this right now, and so we've been reaching out to some of the biggest players in crypto. And when you look at Cardano, how does this affect Cardano? Well, guess what? Anybody that wants to build a protocol on top of Cardano in the United States, you now have to have a license from the federal government. Okay, you want to build a DEX, you're going to need a license from the federal government. This kills crypto as we know it, and this is what he's trying to do. Someone says this bill will lose in courts. No, bills don't go to court. Bill goes through the Senate and the House. That's why it's so important. As the left is leading this, that we hopefully see a change in leadership in Congress and Senate, for crypto-specific only purposes in the fall, in November, because that will give additional congressional oversight to these bills that are trying to be pushed through, and hopefully we will see them reversed since only one side is supporting the FTX bill. So it's very scary what we're seeing. It's very terrifying what we're seeing. And you need to speak out about this. And everybody needs to know what Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to do. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Why do you think he's in Washington, D.C. all the time? Why do you think he goes up to Congress and gets in front of the Senate Banking Committee? Why do you think? Why do you think he's the number 2 overall donor to Joe Biden? Why do you think? Control. Is it for the good of crypto? No. Once this becomes public and it is becoming public now. Once this becomes public and everybody sees what he's doing, his jig is up. He may try to deflect and say, well, that's FTX US is trying to do this. No, Sam, it's you. We all know it. We're not dumb. Get yourself a haircut and grow some balls. And stand up for what you're supposed to stand up for, which is crypto, instead of standing up for what you want to do, which is political philosophy and your own pockets.
Yeah. Well, and realistically, that's
God, I hate
always
this
kind of
guy.
what he's been about. Is he's really
You
isn't.
should have known for the haircut, TJ. I tried to tell you this.
He's not. There's definitely differences between CZ, Jesse Powell, some
Absolutely.
of those kind of guys. Those are crypto OGs. Sam Bankman-Fried's been a trader from the beginning and just really out to make money and make political difference and that sort of stuff. So really what this is bad for is this is bad for the United States, because if it happens, what do you think? Where do you think all the innovation goes? If there's any innovation that's supposed to be happening within crypto, it's not going to be happening in the United States. They're going to have to leave because
Yeah,
you're
well,
not going
I
to
can tell you this. We have someone over in Singapore right now at Token 2049 who's working on some different things for us. He's involved in this political stuff we're doing as well. But the idea, he told me, he texted me last night, and he said, hey, just so you know, I'm over here in Singapore. They hate America right now when it comes to crypto. They're all just like, F America. They're destroying themselves for crypto.
Yep.
Everywhere around the world sees this. That's why like it's hard for us to raise money for this, because around the world, a lot of the big players, they're not interested in our politics because they know it's so bad and they know that this is going to a very negative place. Can you imagine if this bill gets passed and they create a federal bit license, how behind the 8 ball the United States is going to be in crypto innovation? It's going to be destroyed. We will never have successful crypto companies in here again. What was that super chat, by the way?
The Buckslayer.
Buckslayer, I'll be hunting for a few weeks in mid-late October, middle of November. I'll have no service during that time. Will my buy orders get fulfilled without service? Potentially, very potentially. I would say that is definitely in our range that we're looking for. So you guys, please go out on Twitter, speak out against Sam Bankman-Fried, speak out against FTX, speak out against Chuck Schumer, speak out against the things that these people are doing, because they're having a direct effect on you, me, and every person in crypto. This is the worst legislation. If you think what's coming regulation-wise and the stablecoin ban, algorithmic stablecoin ban, the Boozman bill, SEC, Gary Gensler, it all is a drop in a bucket compared to what Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to do. So there you go. All right, back to this here, guys. I know that was a big rant, but I wanted to say that because I talked about it a little bit on Twitter last night. Yeah, Sam Bankman-Greed, that's his name, exactly. While not matching the previous week's losses, the past 7 days nonetheless managed to spark Bitcoin's lowest weekly close since November of 2020. 18,900. It had a hard time closing below 19,000 previously. It had wicked below, but not closed, and it did now. Whether the markets could pull a surprise Max Payne move to the upside, liquidating short bias, is a key alternative argument for Bitcoiners. For popular trader OMZ, the weekly close price of 18.8 even represents a convincing local bottom. An unstoppable U.S. dollar is laying waste to key trading partner currencies, with a great British pound sterling making headlines on the day as it plunges 5% to come within a few percentage points of USD parity, its lowest levels against the greenback ever. The greenback. I love when they call it the greenback.
Yeah.
The Naked Canadian says, but I want to know, does this only affect Americans or everyone? Well, I mean, in a roundabout way, it affects everyone because the SEC can go everywhere. Keep that in mind. Now, this doesn't necessarily have that much to do with the SEC, but our federal government can go anywhere. We have the longest arms in the entire world. So longer than Stretch Armstrong, believe it or not, coming in at number 2.
I would say
it's actually one of my great uncles, but go ahead.
No, I was going to say it definitely affects U.S. first, but you have to remember the U.S. market affects all markets because that's where there is a lot of money. So if things slow down dramatically here, it's going to slow down crypto dramatically. And if a lot of the innovation has to happen outside the United States, it's going to take time for people to migrate and all that sort of stuff. So it would definitely slow the entire crypto movement.
And then we got the Club NFT says, Ben, what do you think of Mr. Wonderful and Paula Hapatia, since they are both heavy invested in on Solana and Backup Freed? This is what I'll say. We have some connections with Kevin O'Leary. So I'm not going to say anything bad about him. I'm not saying anything bad about Chamath. This is what I'll tell you. When it comes to investing, they're heartless. They don't care.
Yep.
You know, that they want to do what's going to make them money. And look, as long as people know that about you, then that's okay. Like, that's okay.
Be honest
But if
about
you
it.
try to pretend to be this wolf in sheep's clothing, that you're trying to do what's best for crypto, meanwhile, behind the scenes, what you're doing is trying to single-handedly destroy decentralization, that's where you got to draw the line. Is Sam Bankman-Fried had just came out and said this all the time, that, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to destroy the competition, and I'm trying to make it where decentralization doesn't exist. I only want things that are going to put money in my pocket. Then sure, we can go with that. And Chamath and Kevin O'Leary, they don't care. They're money people, and that's okay if that's the outlook they're going to take. It's the intellectual dishonesty and the inauthenticity about Sam Bankman-Fried that I cannot stand. So, okay, same level alarm bells sounding for global bonds. U.S. dollar index shows no sign of reversing. I would disagree. It does show a sign of reversing in terms of it hit the top of the range and it started coming back down. Stubborn hodling, is a hallmark of Bitcoin bear markets. Glassnode noted the increasing prevalence of coins hodled for at least 3 months has gone up. Whale still supporting dictate support and resistance. Weird, isn't it? This is what I got called a conspiracy theorist earlier on the show for saying that whales can actually affect support and resistance. Amazing. I guess me and CoinTeleI are on the same page. Analyst who nailed the end of the crypto bull market abruptly changes stance on Bitcoin, says new BTC trend is incoming. Pseudonymous analyst known as Pentoshi says the macro landscape has changed dramatically since Bitcoin hit its all-time high. If I had to say worst case scenario, I would put it at 12 to 14,000 for Bitcoin, right in our range. We've been trying to tell you guys. I think 13.5 to 15 is also playable here, which overlaps that. At $18,000, $7,000 now. And near the June lows, don't expect a bull market either anytime soon. More of a true sideways market to come, like below. Big surprise, this is what we see every single bear market. So, we've been telling you for a while, next year is going to be chopped. All right, moving on here. We have Wall Street's fear gauge at its highest level since June. Oh my God, look how scared this guy is. We got Ebenezer Scrooge over here with his glasses down over his nose. We got number 400 and 464 here. This is Gregory Rowe. That guy's got some eyes. That's a meme. Somebody needs to meme that. A measure of fear in stocks just hit the highest level in 3 months amid mounting worries over rising interest rates, which once again, I can't understand why Bitcoin is not dumping. It's very strange right now. Investor fears reaching extreme levels occurring during the last bear market bottom could also be a sign that stocks are nearing a turning point this time. I mean, guys, I think we're going to see the overall turning point for both Bitcoin and stocks by the end of this year. I think I'm changing my stance a little bit. I now think that probably we're getting another raise in December, and then in January is when we get the announcement of a pause. Just seems to be with the rhetoric coming from the Fed, that probably looks like maybe what we're going to see. Previously, I thought December would be where we get the pause. We'll see what happens with the midterm elections. That could control a lot, but I'm now definitely open to the possibility that we could see another raise in December. But I think the overall bottom for stocks is coming too very soon. Forget a soft landing. The market's best hope is a growth recession. Investors are waking up to the harsh reality of just how much pain the economy may have to endure as the Fed continues to fight against inflation. The new aim appears to be for a so-called growth recession, a prolonged period of meager growth and rising unemployment. That's good. We want unemployment to go up. I know that sounds terrible, but that is healthier for they can get past it. Now, I certainly don't want anybody to lose their jobs. I don't want that to be misconstrued. I don't want people to lose their jobs, but inevitably, this is what happens during a recession. Pain is sharper and lasts longer than that of a soft landing. There was no soft landing possible here. Growth recession doesn't pull the entire economy into contraction the way a proper recession would. It looks like a recession, feels like a recession, but it isn't a recession, at least not officially, because Joe Biden changed the definition of a recession. Last week, Fed Chair Raoul Pal acknowledged that the dream, a soft landing, is over. I mean, yeah, obviously. We talked about this extensively earlier this year about the long tail problem in inflation versus the short tail problem of a recession and raising rates. And where those two converge, that's where you get the real danger, that prevents a soft landing. And so that's what we've seen. Low-income Americans are experiencing negative real wage growth. Investors are losing serious money across multiple asset classes. Home buyers are being shut out of a housing market, and renters are struggling to afford their lease. We talked about that on Friday. So not such good stuff there. Then we have these terrifying charts from GMI, from Raoul Pal. Raoul Pal, by the way, wrote the forward to my book here. You guys can see it right there. Forward by Raoul Pal, CEO and founder, Real Vision Group and global macro investor. If you guys want to hear what he says, Catching Up to Crypto is a book that needed to be written. There's no better person than Ben to write it. So definitely shout out to Raoul for writing that forward. You guys are going to really like that when it comes out. You guys check it out on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. But Raoul Pal wrote this. This has got some very interesting charts in it. These are complicated times in macro. Things have deteriorated in all forward-looking data. I have to say that in my entire career, I have never seen data fall apart this dramatically and this fast. Let's see here. This is housing data. Literally fell off a cliff. Remember this? We were actually building more houses. I know this is new family home sales, but we were building more houses last year than 2008. So you can see what happened there. Very, very scary when you start looking at what could happen here. New family home sales down 30%. You guys can see that. Pending home sales rapidly approaching pandemic lows. Look at this down here. Nobody wanted to move because everybody was scared. Housing starts year on year, also negative. Same applies to MBA mortgage purchases, negative. Following is particularly alarming as you see monthly supply of new homes just exploded to 10.9%. Well, shocking. You're building a bunch of houses. Now people can't afford down payments because the mortgage rates are so high because of the interest level. And now you've got all of these houses that have been built. Remember this. Remember this. I want you to remember this. Almost all the real estate people, almost all the realtors were telling you 6 months ago, nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Market's great. Recession, it's not going to affect house prices. That's crazy. They're raising the rates? Nah, people have plenty of disposable income. 90% of them were telling you that 6 months ago. And you know what they did? They came into my chat. Now, certainly we have realtors that watch this channel. They're very smart, that knew this stuff was coming. But we literally had people coming in here that were realtors during that time when we were telling you a housing bubble was building. And they were telling you, this guy's, he's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I'm the realtor. I understand the real estate market, the housing market. You need to listen to me. You need to buy a house right now. Make sure you're buying. Make sure you're in the market all the time. We told you. Now you're seeing the results of this. Guys, it's common sense. You don't have to have special knowledge to be able to understand that rising rates will affect the housing market. And it also doesn't take a genius to understand that when $1 million home in my area was a $250,000 home just a couple years ago, something's out of whack. It's not rocket science, guys. They want to make you feel like it is, but they're certainly not. So he says they make commission. Yeah, of course. That's why, but look, I want to say this. I don't think they're bad people. I don't think they're trying to make commission. I think it's just similarly. We have Bitcoin. Charlie says, I'm a realtor. I care for my clients. We're waiting for the crash. Perfect. Love that. But the same way that I tend to be more bullish about Bitcoin, like why I had predictions or so, I have a bullish bias. Realtors have a housing market bias internally. Like they need the market to be good so they can make money. So they're always looking for things to confirm that. I don't think they're bad people who are trying to screw people. I think a lot of these realtors, they just got caught up in the speed of the market and that, they wanted it to continue. And now, obviously, it hasn't. So that's the supply of new homes. You can see that peaking. Extremely bad news for everyone who took on new additional mortgage last year. I think this may be the scariest chart in macro right now. The 30-year mortgages are up 90% year over year. This is the growth collapse I've been warning about, unprecedented. Also, the primary driver behind collapsing home builder sentiment. The home builders, you will find the construction industry is a lot more on it than the realtors because they start feeling the effects before the realtors do. So like in 2008, my dad told me, he said, wait until you start seeing more new trucks on the road. Like just people buying more, like not construction trucks, but just like get yourself a big old Ram, Ram 3500. When those sales start going up, that's a sign the market's turning around because people are starting to build houses and do more things and they have more disposable income. And that turned out to be exactly correct, what he said. Let's see. During periods of crisis, home buyers typically lead. What is this signal? It's suggesting a lot more downside is in the cards. So definitely not the end. Pain doesn't stop. It's not just housing. Look at U.S. consumer buying conditions. Crashed. Car sales, deeply negative. Amazing. Savings rate, completely collapsed, which makes this chart particularly worrying, which is the U.S. total debt inflation adjusted. God, these are a lot of charts. These are good. Retail sales, you guys can see they've fallen off. Started to tick up just a little bit. Another interesting chart. U.S. retail sales from 2019 to 2020. U.S. real retail sales, you can see a big, drastic fall off. Wholesale inventories, literally unprecedented. Look at that. That's amazing. People are stuck with supply. Manufacturing trade inventories. Let's see, what is this? Rise in yield rate. Look at that. Loan responsible for massive tightening of financial conditions. This is GMI Financial Conditions Index, yada, yada, yada. So, look, here's the long and the short of it, okay? Long and the short of it is, do you guys understand what's happening right now? What's happening right now, in my opinion, is we're finally feeling the effects of the pandemic. I think that's what we're seeing. Because what happened during the pandemic? We printed money out of control. What happened? The markets were crushing it. People weren't working. People had plenty of disposable income. People are running out of disposable income. It's turned into an employer's market, no longer an employee's market where you can just jump around and go anywhere you want for 30% more and 30% less hours, okay? You're starting to see the effects of all the used car sales in the pinch from the supply and demand of that. You're starting to see the pinch of not as many cars were produced during this time. You're starting to see the housing market come back into order where it probably should be. These are all the results of the pandemic. By printing all that money, we delayed those results 2 years. And now we're starting to feel it, and it's very bad. And you know who should be fired over all this? Jerome Powell. I'll say it again. Jerome Powell, the dumbest person in our entire government. I don't think there's any question about it. And yet somehow he continues to keep a job. It's amazing. I think he's done a pretty good, I saw somebody say this. I think he's done a pretty good job of handling this. No. He told you inflation wasn't a problem. He told you it wasn't a problem at all. He literally told you that. He said it's transitory. It's going to come and go really, really, really quick. And now he gets to play the hardline hero for the problem, for solving the problem that he created. Which, by the way, solving the problem, that hurts all of you. That hurts all of us. Everybody gets hurt financially while he's solving that problem, and he gets all the credit and all the praise.
Yeah, and acted like he didn't know it was coming. It was, I saw a clip. I wish I could find it on Twitter of this professor. He was on some news program just like losing his mind on Jerome Powell for the statements that he made about like the numbers and the metrics that
I saw that nerdy looking guy from Wharton Business School.
Yeah, it was great. And he's just like, I can't believe he's looking at these numbers. Like it's like if anybody who invests in these markets, there's so much more on top of what's going on here. And this guy, it's supposed to be his entire job to lead this entire country. And there's no way he's this stupid. It's just complete negligence. It's really hard to believe.
Well, somebody mentioned in there something about how he doesn't even actually work for our government. Guys, I want to break this up. Look, please understand, the Fed is the government. I know the central bank is technically not the government, okay? But do you know who sits on the board of the Fed? People appointed by the government, right? That's like saying that, the SEC isn't the government because it's appointed by politicians. They don't, we're just making its own thing. No, guys. The central bank and the Fed, they are the government. It's literally appointed people by the government, but it's an independent organization outside of the government, but it's ran by the government. So,
but we don't appoint all the board seats.
What's that?
We don't appoint all board seats, right? Just one or two, right?
Who?
The government.
No, the government controls who's on the board of the bank, of the Fed.
All board seats.
Of course.
100%.
The government appoints the chair, I believe, but the other ones are selected by the government as well. No. It's controlled. I did a whole video about this a couple years ago. Maybe people can go find it. But yeah, it's not completely independent of the government. Like if you were going to think that would be crazy.
Yeah.
But no, I'm very, very. Oh, somebody says John Contreras with a great point here. He says the Fed controls the government, not the government. That's I understand that point as well. So yes, I understand the Fed Reserve is not the government, but it is. Technically, in name only, it is not. The people on the board are selected by the government. So that means that the people who run the independent company outside of the government or organization are all picked by the government. So yes, it's basically just semantics. It's only semantics to say the Fed is not the government. It is the government. If we're being really honest and you look at it, Joe Biden appointed Jerome Powell as well. So the chair is appointed, but the government selects all the board seats. So, okay. With Bitcoin dominance being so low this late in the cycle, do you think alts will also bottom the same time, unlike past cycles? No, I think you have a year to accumulate. I think you'll see all the altcoins hit different bottoms over the next year. I don't think you can really point to a specific time range and say, oh, in December or in March of next year is going to be, we're going to see a bottom for altcoins. Now, generally what you see is the altcoins bottom at different times over the range of sideways action for Bitcoin. So I think that's what we'll see again. Maybe not, but we will. Okay. All right. It says Jerome Powell was appointed in 2017. Right. But he had to be reconfirmed when Joe Biden took over, I believe. I believe they had that. So, okay. All right. California kills main crypto bill. Why? I already talked about this. I actually did not. Well, I meant to bring this up. I touched on it with the Sam Bankman-Fried stuff. Guys, California was getting ready to institute their own version of the BIT license. They got vetoed. Why? Because Gavin Newsom knows Sam Bankman-Fried, who's in California. FTX, I believe, is based in California. Maybe we get confirmation on that. But they know what's coming. Why would you do a state one when you know a federal one is on the way? Especially when your political ideals line up with the person who's pushing it. So there you go.
Yes. It's FTX US in San Francisco.
In San Francisco. So there you go. There's your information right there. So anyways, it passed the assembly with a 71-0 vote, but Newsom vetoed the bill. Why? Because he knows the federal one is potentially coming. They want it to come. He suggests the regulators wait for now and develop a flexible approach to strike a balance between innovation and protection. Obviously, that's why, that's what he's saying. We know why he's actually doing it. We had a lot of people praising California for doing this. Once again, guys, if you're praising the government, you should know there's probably something going on behind the scenes you don't know about. So, all right. Apple guzzling 30% commission on in-app NFT purchases. New report reveals. This is interesting stuff. Media outlet also quoted Magic Eden's co-founder and CTO, Sidney Zhang, who revealed that because of Apple's fees, the company has never attempted to provide buy and sell function on its app, despite receiving a reduced offer of 15%. So how about that? That is pretty interesting. Car for Coin says the license is going to be hard to get. Well, yeah, obviously, look into getting a BIT license. You have to hire a consultant to help you figure out how to get it. You don't just apply and get it. The whole point, just so you guys understand, the whole point of the BIT license, the whole point of any license is to make the percentage of people that can operate in that space much fewer. That's why you do it. Because, look at used car licenses here in Georgia. You have to have a used car license to be able to buy and resell cars. Why? Well, they don't want anybody to just be able to go out and do it. They don't want anybody to know that you can just go buy a car for X number of dollars and resell it for a higher price and make money. No. They want this all to be going through the government so they know how much is happening, how many cars are being sold, how many people are doing this. They can't have everybody running their own business. They need followers. They need people to be janitors. They need people to do other types of jobs. Let's use that job as an example. No offense to janitors. But the point is, Curly Q, that was our janitor back in elementary school. Remember his name? Curly Q. That's what we called him. But the point is, a license squeezes competition. That's what it does. That's why Sam Bankman-Fried wants this. It squeezes his competition away from FTX. They only want it to be. Why do you think Sam Bankman-Fried said this? Now, looking back on things he said, everything starts to make sense. This was the missing piece. This was the missing piece that people did not know. Now it makes sense why he's trying to absorb and land grab so many different projects and companies underneath FTX, which, by the way, they do not own Ledger Cold Storage Wallet. So somebody talking about that earlier. They own Ledger X, which is a derivatives platform. Squeeze that in. Now we get a derivatives platform licensed in the U.S. by FTX. It's not the cold storage wallet. Some people said that they partnered with Ledger. That's much different than ownership, just so you guys understand. But the whole point is that makes sense why they're land grabbing. It also makes sense why he's donated so much money politically. And it also makes sense to why he said that, what was the other thing that he said? What was the other thing? When he was talking about it, insolvent exchanges. Hey, there's only like 3 or 4 exchanges that aren't insolvent. You know what? They're all insolvent outside of us, Kraken, Coinbase, Binance US. They're all insolvent outside of us. Now you see what that is. That's positioning. That's positioning the other 3 companies that can probably get the license in the United States. Squeeze out the rest of the competition. Gemini, I believe Gemini wasn't included in that list, he said. I
They
think.
already have the license.
Yeah, good point. Great point. They already have the license in New York. Now, if you already have it in New York, maybe it would be grandfathered in. You'd already get it. That'd be interesting. So, okay. All right. So, yeah, Apple shaving NFTs, yada, yada, yada. They're down to add a way to buy NFTs through apps, but it's going to cost you money. So, Veritasium sued Coinbase over patent infringement, seeks $350 million for settlement. Veritasium, whatever happened to that SEC settlement? I wonder. Reggie Middleton behind Veritasium. I know he got in trouble with them for, I think they said it was a security. Can't remember exactly what the end result. Maybe somebody can say what it was. Coinbase gets into trouble with another lawsuit of patent infringement among its other legal issues. A blockchain-based fintech software company in New York, Veritasium Capital LLC, sued the crypto exchange for infringing its patent transfer technology for several exchange services. The company reached out to Coinbase to settle this issue without running any legal dispute in the courts. But the crypto exchange was uncooperative, told Carl Brundage, attorney at Veritasium Capital. And now Middleton and its company seek the court to get it granted $350 million in return for damages, make Coinbase plead guilty, and stop the platform from using these patents in its services. Notably, the plaintiff firm Veritasium also faced charges of running a fraudulent scheme by the SEC. The authority accused the firm of misleading the community about the market value. It alleged SEC alleged platform manipulated token price. Let's see. Finally, the company and its founder agreed to settle with the SEC, paying $9.4 million. However, they spent $1 million extra as a penalty for Middleton to settle fraudulent scheme charges against him. Veritasium, as per its website, is a software-making company that develops peer-to-peer blockchain-based capital. Guys, once again, that's what they do. They try to squeeze you for money. That's what the SEC does. It's all about squeezing you for money. So they got $10.4 million, it looks like, from Reggie Middleton. So, but they're, suing Coinbase, whatever. Ethereum challenger defies crypto markets and surges 38% this week as a FIFA partnership drives new user growth. What is this? Algorand. So how about that? Partnered with FIFA. New address is making Algorand transaction have climbed from 5,000 to 20,000 a day. And May, FIFA linked a partnership or a sponsorship agreement. Is that the second one?
Yeah, I'm going to ban it.
Yeah, thank you. FIFA inked a sponsorship agreement with Algorand to make the Ethereum rival, the official blockchain platform of FIFA. This month, the global soccer group launched FIFA Plus Collect, a platform designed to give fans in the world chance to own FIFA digital collectibles. We get all kinds of NFTs from the Falcons.
Yeah,
we do. Like the Falcons games, they're always giving out NFTs, which is pretty interesting. So, okay, so there you go. Algorand, we love Algorand. We replaced FTX and Solana in our sample portfolios with Algorand and HBAR. Here's Charles Hoskinson, the mega bull market secret. ADA founder Charles Hoskinson believes the U.S. Financial Innovation Act can trigger a massive bull market run. In the latest video interaction with Cheeky Crypto, Cardano's founder Charles Hoskinson said he might have possibly identified a key element of the domain that's capable of activating a mega bull run. He was all praised for the new Financial Innovation Act, which was earlier proposed in June by Cynthia Lummis and Kirsten Gillibrand. Both people that I believe are good for crypto, for what I hear. Cardano Charles Hoskinson is notably dubbed as one of the most outspoken crypto professionals. Under his expert guidance, the Cardano ecosystem has recently deployed its highly awaited Vassal hard fork. So there you go. But he believes that this can lead to a bull run. And look, I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. Why? Well, one of the big things holding back crypto is clarity. That's why we need the Boozman bill to pass. We get Ethereum and Bitcoin officially moved over. That's why we get the Financial Innovation Act passed, which hopefully I think may correct some of the things from the big bill last year. What was the infrastructure bill that had some bad stuff for crypto? Get some of that fixed. Robert Severson, opinion on investing in Near and the bill on algorithmic stablecoins. Watching 2 years now. Thanks for everything. Bill on algorithmic stablecoins, I don't think is that big of a deal because I'm not too big on algorithmic stablecoins. I don't think they're ready yet anyways. A 2-year ban on them, I don't think is going to do that much, and that's only in the United States. Near, I like Near Protocol as a project. It's something we're going to heavily consider putting in our portfolio as we head towards the next bull run. I think it's a good project, so maybe we'll do a full video on it, sometime down the road. But yeah, there you go. Thank you for supporting the channel. So yeah, so I think this makes sense. If you get clarity, you get regulation. now people feel more comfortable to invest, especially you're less or you're more risk averse person, your traditional investor. Hydra is everything Lightning wanted to be when it grows up. In a recent interview, Charles Hoskinson, founder and co-CEO of Input Output Global, blockchain technology firm behind Cardano's R&D, talked about layer 2. Oh, no, it must be Canadian. Talk to boot to layer 2. Scaling solution Hydra, which should launch in H1 2023. What is H1?
I guess
Half one, the first half of the year.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. I remember we looked that up one time. So there you go. More recently, talked about Hydra. It looks like maybe go check out this Cheeky Crypto interview, as it seems like there was a lot of good stuff said from that interview. Crypto has no undo button, says researchers behind new reversible Ethereum tokens. New proposal could see victims of crypto theft get their funds back. Still, the industry has doubts about a reversible Ethereum token. Do not like this. This is not good.
no.
Stanford researchers drew up fresh proposal for 2 new Ethereum token standards, ERC20R and ERC721R. Those are takeoffs on the ERC20 standard and the ERC721 standard. That's an NFT standard. ERC20 is a traditional token created on Ethereum. So the R at the end would mean reversible. Billions of crypto stolen. If we can't stop thefts, how can we reduce the harmful effects? Look, this is concerning. I mean, look, I definitely fall with Charles Hoskinson on this. Charles Hoskinson is a person that says code is law. That's where that famously came from, at least in terms of the crypto industry. When the Ethereum DAO was hacked, a lot of the people on Ethereum, the majority wanted to reverse the transaction so the hackers didn't get the money, created a new chain, which is where you get Ethereum Classic as the original, Ethereum is the new chain. Charles Hoskinson made a strong stance and no, guys, code is law. This is our fault for doing this and leaving this vulnerability. We need something better. And so he was in the minority there. A lot of people just didn't want the hackers to get the money. That's a very slippery slope. When we start talking about reversible tokens, I think it's very, very, very slippery, in my opinion. So
it's very similar to me with censorship on the internet, where once you start, where do you stop? Who's making the call? All that kind of stuff.
I agree 100%. Okay. Let's see here. Ripple defendants. Now, guys, if you're in the XRP army, throw up the X. If you're in the XRP army, we got some people watching in the studio live today wearing an XRP army shirt. You guys can get those. Hey, you can see them on the video, I think, now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able, down below, you should be able to see our hit merch and check out our XRP army shirt. Ripple defendants file motion to block SEC from delaying its response to the Amici Kurai briefs. In another twist of the legal tussle between the U.S. SEC and Ripple, U.S. blockchain company has filed oh, hey, hon. Are you leaving? You just tell me you love me and bye. Love you, bye. That's my wife, ladies and gentlemen. Has filed a motion objecting to the SEC's suggestion that we'll need more time. Citing case histories, the defendants argue in their motion that courts do not usually grant additional time and page for parties to respond to Amici briefs. And so the presiding judge should also reject the SEC's suggestion. It added that should the SEC be entertained in its request, the change should also apply to Ripple. How soon could there be a resolution? This is what everybody wants to know. When is the case going to end? The latest turn in the case comes after Ripple and the SEC had filed motions for the summary judgment. Motion filings, which got the hopes of the XRP community up, suggesting neither party was seeking for the case to move to a full trial. However, the case, which began in 2020, is yet to have a date of resolution, and Ripple has held on to its arguments. The SEC is a security while Ripple maintains it's not. I would actually argue in the summary judgment that is not the focus of what they're now saying. In a recent development reported by Bloomberg, Ripple has even filed a motion in the federal court of Manhattan seeking to throw the case out of the court on grounds that XRP holders have no contracts or rights with the blockchain company Ripple. And I would agree with that 100%. The vast majority of holders have nothing to do with this case. It's really asinine, in my opinion. This has gotten this far. But I do want to warn people. This is my warning to people, okay? Guys, this case is not ending tomorrow. I think a lot of people right now in the XRP community, because of some things that I've said, because of some things that some of the other XRP influencers have said, is that we're telling you the case is over. No, it's still going to drag out for a while, I believe. I believe this is not going to end until December at the earliest. More likely, I'm targeting Q2 next year, maybe Q3. I think Q2 is probably my most, my most speculative, far out there prediction for when it's going to end. But it could end as soon as December. It could happen. But this is not ending tomorrow. Why? Because of things like this. They just keep extending it. Even if the summary judgments point to a quicker resolution, now they're arguing over whether the SEC can bring in Amici briefs of its own, right? And so Ripple's saying they shouldn't have time to do this. And if they do, then we should have more time. It's kind of the argument, I think. Maybe that's not exactly correct because you guys know I'm not an attorney. Shocker. But the whole idea that this is going to end very soon, I think you really have to, kind of be the type of person that says it could, but most likely it's going to be a while still. Why? Because every time we thought it was almost over, it's still been a much longer time. So I just want people to be realistic with your expectations here. We are not wanting this case to end because Ripple's going 10x the next day. We want this case to end so the suppression is gone. People feel more prone to buy it, and it gets put back on exchanges where people can buy it for the next bull run. Ripple executive leads Australia's CBDC project, another pump for XRP. Reserve Bank, and by the way, we've got some very interesting stuff we've discovered about XRP that we're going to be doing a video on pretty soon. Can't wait to show you guys. The Reserve Bank of Australia on Monday released a white paper for the CBDC pilot project in collaboration with the Digital Finance Cooperative Research Center. Interestingly enough, the CBDC pilot led by former Ripple executive Dilip Rao. Reserve Bank of Australia released a paper. Rao contributed to Ripple's XRPL adoption by the banking and financial market from 2014 to 2019. That's a completely decentralized ledger. He believes XRPL-based real-time settlement system has capabilities in CBDCs. Team plans to design the EAUD on private permission Ethereum, but chances of XRPL use case are higher. Okay, let's go ahead and it's Amaki. I can never say it right. Amaki? Is not Amici? Not Amici? It's not Amakai? Okay, whatever it is. Let's just do this real quick. I do want to point out one of our quick hit stories.
And then any questions, guys, drop them in the chat.
Yeah.
We
we have ballroom dancing today. So we basically have like 3 minutes. I gotta go. Report leaked audio features Celsius execs uncovering a plan to create an IOU crypto. That's the big news coming out of Celsius is a leaked report. They want to create a wrap token for you to be able to get an IOU as Alex Mashinsky continues to be dumb and dumber. All right.
Real quick, one question before we wrap it up for the Q&A section. Best dApp/exchanges to buy coins in the Cardano and Algorand ecosystem.
Ooh, Algorand ecosystem, I'm not sure. You have Sunday Swap, obviously is a DEX on Cardano. You've got a lot of NFTs built on Cardano as well. Not necessarily dApps, but a lot of the Cardano NFTs do really well.
I know you can purchase through Exodus Wallet Cardano, and I don't know if Algorand's in there or not, though. But I know Cardano.
This is talking about buying the coins in the ecosystem, not the coins.
Well,
that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Big difference. You're going to find a very select list. Maybe that's a good topic for a video.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. All right, guys. That's all we got for today. I got to run a little bit early. So thank you guys so much for watching. It's been wonderful seeing you guys today. Future's bright. That's all I got. Be blessed. Go out.